Hello, this is Kevin McDaniel from IT Strategies Group. Today we're going to present why enterprise architecture is not just for large enterprises any longer. Our agenda today is who are we? Who is IT Strategies Group? What is enterprise architecture and IT architecture? Some of the myths that we've encountered as we've talked to various people in the industry. It's too hard and takes too much time. The cost benefit ratio is not there. Only large companies can benefit. It is only a snapshot and then it's out of date. Our resellers help us architect our IT solutions. ITS, and then we're going to talk about our approach, ITS's approach to architecture and our value add. Discuss a couple of steps and take any questions that any of the attendees may have. IT Strategies Group is a vendor-neutral company specializing in helping companies ensure they are getting the best value from their IT spend. We do this by ensuring that our clients' IT environments are aligned with their business goals and objectives through a comprehensive process that allows us to collect business needs, business goals, and look at where the business is going to go, any major disruptors that may be in that business's industry vertical, and then looking at their current IT capabilities, defining what its current state, and looking at where the gaps are as to what IT is currently able to provide and what the business is going to need today and going forward. Then we take a look at creating a transition plan that allows us to map out, given the resources and budget of the client, how long it's going to take to bridge that gap and bring IT into alignment with the business. We do not resell hardware or software. That is what makes us neutral. We've made a key decision in our business model not to resell because we want to be 100% focused on what our clients need and have no bias as to trying to sell them or needing to sell them because of our bottom line, what we're reselling through our partnership agreements. We have none. We will continue to have none, and our focus will continue to always be on our clients. Some of the other services that we provide, obviously we're talking about enterprise architecture today. Cloud assessments, we take a look at what companies have in place today and look at what they may be able to move immediately to the cloud, help them rationalize what types of regulatory compliance issues they need to take into account as they're moving to the cloud, and then also help them take a look at their application stack and ensure that it is cloud ready, because not all applications are constructed in a way that allows them to be federated and moved into a cloud. And then help them understand what gaps would need to be filled to get those applications ready to move to the cloud. Another big part of our business is doing backup and recovery assessments, determining what companies are capable of doing today, assessing their full backup capabilities and their full recovery capabilities, and then helping them align that with what their needs are for the business to survive in the event of a disaster or other catastrophe. In addition to that, we also provide a full line of recovery services where companies have been breached or where companies have been subject to a natural disaster or a man-made disaster and need to recover their environment. Oftentimes they find out after the fact that they did not have the capabilities that they thought they did, and call us and ask us for help in trying to get as much of their environment back as possible. We also do a lot in IT procurement, helping companies look at using a key method or a methodology, a standardized methodology that is fair, transparent, and allows them to make decisions based on quantifiable evaluations of products against their requirements as a business and as an IT function, versus in some cases we see some clients that previously have gone and looked at shrink wrap of one vendor that they like and then use that vendor's feature set as the requirements, and that's not really the way to go. And then we do our vendor arbitration. One of the things that we see going forward is that as more people go to the cloud, and they're going to do multi-cloud strategies typically if they want to make sure that they're protected the most. And there's going to be times where things aren't going to work, and the vendors are going to be pointing at each other. And even if you're not in the cloud and you are running your own data center or systems, you're going to see the same thing, and probably already have seen the same thing. In some instances, the downtime that this causes can cost considerable amount of money, and the clients don't have time to listen to the vendors point at each other. So they'll bring us in, we'll sit down with the vendors, we'll walk through the technology, we'll do a root cause analysis, we'll identify the root cause, we'll identify the mitigating steps needed to be done. We'll fill out a key report that the client can use if necessary, if they want to recoup costs from the vendor through legal means. What is enterprise architecture and IT architecture? The IEEE 1471-2000 takes 8 pages to define what architecture is. An architecture really is a conceptual blueprint that defines the organization. Enterprise architecture can be thought of as a way to drive both business and technology strategies and outcomes. At a minimum, many organizations use the practice of enterprise architecture to ensure technology strategies and outcomes are aligned with the support of and support the business of the organization. All the main architecture frameworks, DODAF, Zachman, Infotech, have hundreds of artifacts. This can make things look daunting when people are looking at implementing enterprise architecture, and was one of the key reasons that most enterprises or companies do not. TOGAF has well over 1,000 artifacts. This can make, as I said, adoption of the enterprise architecture seem daunting and look like it's going to take more time and effort than it's really worth. One of the myths that we see often or hear often from prospects that we're talking to is that it looks too hard and takes too much time. Again, the 1471-2000 definition of architecture is very difficult to read, makes it look very hard to implement. TOGAF, if you've ever picked up that manual, is 1,000 pages, filled with all kinds of really cool looking things, but it's really hard to tell what you really need and what's really nice to have. The reality is that the difficulty, basically the complexity and time to implement, are directly proportional to the size and complexity of the organization. Smaller organizations have less complex environments, so the time to implement architecture is measured typically in weeks and months. The cost-benefit ratio is not there is another myth. The graph on the next page is going to show us the value versus architecture and maturity level for small, less complex, and mid-size, mid-complexity, and large, highly complex organizations. A key couple of points. A less complex organization will see its best return by aiming to achieve an architecture maturity of level 3, as you're going to see on the graph. As the organizations grow, the complexity of their business models tend to grow. This may take that small organization into the mid-level complexity curve, where they would benefit from maturing their architecture practice to a level 4. In a less complex organization, a low complexity organization, as we're going to see in this graph, there's a quicker return on the value that an organization sees as its operational maturity and architecture increases. This is because most smaller organizations, while they're not highly complex, have grown organically over time. And whenever something grows organically over time, decisions are made that are not truly aligned either with the existing architecture in IT or with the business. So it adds complexity to the environment, makes more integration points for new applications and new functionality. It has many more opportunities and lower hanging fruit for architecture to address and gain value directly from more quickly. A mid-complexity environment, you're going to see a one-to-one relationship. So if you move your operational maturity over 1, you're going to gain a direct value of 1 in return. Large, highly complex environments, it takes a bit more time because there's more inertia to overcome in the organization, and there are more data points that need to be addressed and collected, and more inventories and diagrams and roadmaps that need to be created. So it's going to take more time for all that inertia to move in the positive enterprise architecture direction before a highly complex environment starts seeing a return on those EA investments. However, because of the size and the scale of those organizations, you're going to see a much higher return from a dollar perspective given time. Another myth is only large companies can benefit. As we said in the previous slides, that's not true. Um, Actually, smaller organizations are going to see a faster return on their EA investments than larger organizations. Um, and from a proportional size or a relative size of savings, those savings are going to be a higher percent for smaller organizations than larger organizations. Now, because the larger organizations are usually talking hundreds or tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in their IT spend, that overall dollar number will be higher, but it'll be a lower percentage of overall gross income. A couple other key points is there will be savings driven by standardization. There will also be savings uh, and possible income opportunities by reduced development cycle times to bring new services and products that have a technology backend online for customers. It's only a snapshot and then it's out of date. Uh, Many organizations that we've come into and worked with are have tried enterprise architecture in the past, and one of the things that we see cause enterprise architecture failure most often is that they have failed to address putting a solution design or solution architecture process in place, which allows, as they make changes to their IT environment that are driven by the business, uh, recording those changes and architecting those changes so that that's recorded, and then those changes, once they're completed, are then imported into the enterprise architecture repository as the new current state. So there needs to be a complete process involved that involves always updating the enterprise architecture repository with any new products that have been introduced and completed into it, so that it's the current state's always up to date. And that's very important because it's that current state that allows you to make quicker IT decisions um, and ensure that they're aligned with the business, and ensure that all the integration points and all the things that can get in the way with introducing new products are accounted for ahead of time versus at the end of the project. Again, this is walking through the remaining points that I just made. Our resellers help us architect our IT solutions. We hear this a lot, and there are a ton of really good resellers out there, and we do a lot of business with the resellers, helping them out with some of their engagements. Um, some key points. One thing that I've noticed is while resellers are really awesome at helping their clients, when's the last time a reseller helped you architect something that they didn't sell you? The answer that I've always heard is never. The other question is, when is the last time a reseller told you that what they're reselling you isn't going to be a good fit for the need that you have, and told you to go somewhere else to get it? Um, Again, I've never heard that occur. And another key point is, when resellers are offering to architect something for you, they're offering that solution architecture part that I talked to you about in the previous slides. They're offering to take and make sure that that solution gets put into your environment and implemented, but they're only looking at implementing that solution. They have not looked at your business goals. They have not looked at your objectives. They've not looked at your business practices, your business processes, and really understood your business and how it operates, and helped you create a global view of your IT and its abilities to enable your business. So what they're selling you may or may not be the correct solution, but what they're not doing is ensuring that that system or solution is going in place and is going to be optimized to add additional functionality, be extensible for other things, increase your agility of your business, um, and ensure that it is consistent with the standards that you want to put in place that are going to drive your costs lower and not introduce complexity. Again, many of these solutions occur because there's an immediate need, and that immediate need is solved, but solving that immediate need sometimes introduces complexity in other areas, and it's not accounted for until it's in, or it's not identified until it's encountered at some later point in time as a constraint. So they're providing solution architecture, which is good, but they're not providing enterprise architecture, which is going to give you that master plan, is going to drive complexity out of your environment at a global level and reduce your costs. Um, in part, or to summarize this slide, again, there are a lot of great resellers out there, and they do a lot of really good work, and they do a really good job at solution architecture. What we're trying to encourage is that all companies really need to get that higher view and that global view that's going to help them drive their costs lower and ensure that each of those point solutions that they're looking at really are aligned and really will enable them as a business. We've also seen that typically, even though the resellers do a great job, um, they're going to be pushing um, a slightly higher profit margin when they know they have the trusted vendor status that resellers try to gain with companies, and rightfully so. They're also going to be pushing services, and those services may or may not be in the client's best interest. The client will always gain benefit from them, but there may be more cost-effective ways of looking at those services than what's provided. And again, a key point is the resellers are providing solution architecture, not enterprise or IT architecture. So ITSG's approach to architecture and our value add. Uh, the value add that we bring is we do this for many companies, large companies, enterprise 100 companies, in fact, as well as very small companies, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million companies that have grown over time and have found success in their industry. But again, have that organic growth in their IT, and they're not exactly sure if their IT spend is correct. Is it aligned with their business? Do they have a whole bunch of redundancy? Is there key functionality that three applications in their environment provide, and why do they need all three of them? And those type of things are the things that we can help you with, in addition to reducing complexity and driving costs and increasing performance, agility, and extensibility into your environment. Um, what we really do, since we have this broad experience, is our key value add is that we know how to find that sweet spot for enterprise architecture. The key to enterprise architecture is making sure that what artifacts need to be defined and what level of detail those artifacts need to be at to provide information for an organization at the organization's size, given the organization's IT capabilities and the amount of staff involved, and helping them find that sweet spot where they are spending just the right amount of time keeping that architecture up to date. And if you look at us as an IT as a service, which we do, or architecture as a service, which we provide, we'll do that for you. so that they have the information needed to make those key business decisions quickly and ensure that they know what the overall impact of anything new being added to their IT environment is, and they also know if the business needs to change X, then the corresponding change to IT is Y, and here's what that expense is. So they can get to market with any customer-facing technologies or services that have an underlying technology faster and with a more robust set of features than maybe they would have had otherwise. Again, drive complexity and redundancy out of the environment and reduce cost, and then help establish standards that make sense and drive cost savings. Over standardization can start costing money. So knowing where that sweet spot is and where that balance is key, and one of the things that we do very well. We also spend a considerable time at the beginning of each of our client engagements when we start implementing enterprise architecture for a client, identifying key operational issues that currently exist, so that those can be addressed and quickly fixed, so that the clients gain some immediate value from our presence, and also help establish a line of credibility so that they can see that the services that we're offering are going to provide a high level of value very quickly. And then obviously creating a clear process that allow the client to continue to keep their newly formed architecture continually updated. That goes to that solution design, which then when it's completed, feeds back to the current state or updates the current state and keeps the enterprise architecture repository updated, so that you have a living, breathing document or set of documents that provide value going forward. In summary, what is enterprise architecture, IT architecture? It's really making sure that the business is taken into account and that IT is aligned with the business to ensure that the business is able to meet its objectives quickly, is able to be agile in its marketplace, and is able to reduce its overall cost of IT. It's worth the time and investment. Clearly, we've shown that through the presentation today that there is a large value to enterprise architecture regardless of size of the organization, in that we're going to drive complexity, redundancies, and costs down, and we're going to increase performance, agility, and extensibility up. Again, the benefits are there. We just talked about that, and all companies can benefit. We've also just talked about that as well. What's next? IT Strategy Group wants to talk to you about your enterprise enterprise and IT architecture needs. Work with you on strategy, design, technology, implementation, ongoing partnerships. Let us show you what EA can do for you, and please give us a call. With that, are there any questions? Okay. Again, if you have registered for the event, all you have to do is shoot us an email, and we will make sure that we get a prompt response back to you, and look forward to talking to you.